Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome to Rogers Center. It's the third and final game of this three-game series. The Blue Jays have taken the first two games against Bob Melvin's Oakland Athletics. Melvin visiting with Brett Lawrie in the dugout. Let's take a look at the lineup for Oakland. Billy Burns, top of the order. He's had a three-game hit streak. Mark Canha's in the 2 spot. And then Brett Lawrie. He's been shut out in this series so far. He's 0 for 8 against his former team with 4 strikeouts. Right behind him, different story for Danny Valencia. Former Blue Jay riding a 6-game hit streak, including hitting a home run here against R.A. Dickey last night.
Mark Buehrle gets ready for his 23rd start of the season. He's won 5 of his last 6 decisions dating back to 2011 against the Oakland Athletics. He is working on an extra day of rest this season. When he works on those extra days of rest, he's had a couple of starts. He's 2-0 with a 208 earned run average, just 3 earned runs in 13 innings. Last time out, he won his 12th game against Minnesota.
Buehrle misses with the first pitch to Billy Burns, the switch-hitting center fielder. Burns, we mentioned his 3-game hit streak. He's 3 for 8 in this series, and there's a ball that's a fair ball right on the line. Billy Burns is headed for second, and Rivera will toss it back in. That ball hit just on the left field foul line, and it's a leadoff double for Billy Burns.
Burns had a couple of hits against Buehrle when they played each other out in Oakland. This time he's going to hook that pitch just past Donaldson down the line. Ooh,
wow, that's
they might want to look at that one.
Well, Blue Jays are taking a look at it, certainly, and they're going to have an opportunity to review it. Jeff Kellogg, he's been involved in 3 reviews so far. He's the crew chief. He made this call, and John Gibbons is going to give this one a look.
That's a foul ball.
That's a foul ball. It sure is. The Blue Jays should take a look at it. Leadoff double to start the game. You got to take a shot. And they are. Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, made the call. He will be joined by the home plate umpire, Brian O'Nora, who's the next senior umpire in this 4-man group.
I think if they get that shot that we had right down the line, this is going to be an easy decision right here.
You can see Buehrle made a sign of the cross, hoping for a favorable review here. As Mark Buehrle, he enjoys playing the game, and he never misses an opportunity to have a little fun. So Billy Burns, he has been good all season against the Blue Jays, and he hits a leadoff double that's under review.
They're showing it on the overhead scoreboard here now, and it clearly shows that that ball did not get any of the chalk line. This is the shot right here. Watch where the ball comes down. Clearly past that white line.
Yeah, that's...
If they could stop it right where it hits the ground, it'll show that that ball was clearly foul. You'll see, look at that. You can see some green between the ball and the foul line.
Sure looks to be foul. Blue Jays had a call at second overturned on Smoke's double, and Buehrle says, I need a little help here. Looking for some intervention. Leadoff double certainly would be a good start for the Oakland A's, and Buehrle now talking to second base umpire Mark Rippiger. So Burns is at second for the time being. It would be his 13th double of the season, and boy, they're taking a long time in New York.
Get every angle, maybe stop it. I like the one where they stopped it right on the turf. You could see a little green patch between the ball and the foul line. Sometimes you can get fooled here at Rogers Center when that ball hits on the turf here. You get the splattering of all those pebbles, those rubberized pebbles.
Umpires have the decision now, so keep your eye on the crew chief, Jeff Kellogg, on the left. Foul ball. Indeed, it was a foul ball. Then Billy Burns will go back to home plate. Now Bob Melvin, you can't argue these things. And he said, how can you tell? He said, hey, they told us in New York it's out of the umpire's hands. Once they go to the review, umpires on the field have nothing to do with it.
I think they owe him an explanation, though. I know you can't argue it, but I think they owe him an explanation. Tell me what they saw in New York, and then you can't argue that.
So everything seems to be breaking the Blue Jays' way. First of all, no Sonny Gray to start this game, and now the leadoff double is erased by the video challenge. But the umpires in New York are the ones that make the decision. Once the umpires on site go to the video review, they have nothing to do with it.
There was a controversy in last night's game, the Chicago-Los Angeles Angels game, about a video review, and Mike Scioscia went out and was talking. David Robertson was waiting around. I don't know if you saw that, and had some words to say about Mike Scioscia after the game.
David Robertson said it was Bush that Scioscia was standing in front of home plate during the review. It took 6 minutes, and Robertson couldn't throw a pitch. He ultimately would be charged with a blown save as the Angels tied it up, but the White Sox would eventually win the game.
Mike had an argument. He said, I could have protested that call. I wanted to get an absolute ruling on that one. Well, they got an absolute ruling on this one, and it's a foul ball.
Well, and Robertson's point, David Robertson, the closer of the White Sox, said, sure, you can argue all you want, but move away from home. So we'll do it all over again. All of that controversy, it's a 1-1 count for Mark Buehrle. 2-1. Mark Buehrle, 12-5 on the season. This is his 23rd start of the year. He is 1-0, just one start against Oakland. Pitched well against them out in Oakland.
I'll tell you what, to get Billy Burns, now that you're at 2-2, you don't have to throw him a strike. He is a free swinger. Buehrle with 2 strikes, he'll use that fastball.
And there it is, inside. Buehrle is the master of catching that inside corner with 2 strikes. He didn't get the call there. Mark Canha has moved up to the 2nd spot in the A's order. He's had a good series. Billy Burns takes a walk. Defensively, we'll see a little bit different setup, especially on the infield today. Ben Revere, Kevin Pillar, and Jose Bautista. This is the 12th start for Revere in left. Donaldson's at 3rd. Ryan Goins makes his 30th start at shortstop. Cliff Pennington's at 2nd. Smoke and Navarro round out the defense for Mark Buehrle.
Day game after night game, they want to give Troy Tulowitzki some time off, so Cliff Pennington will get to start at 2nd base.
Mark Canha after the first pitch. Sun is an issue today. Pillar, the center fielder, missed it. He was battling that all the way. You could see he put his arms out to the side. Ben Revere was standing right there. The left fielder had a much better angle on it, and you can see the sun that's really bright high over Rogers Center.
And there's no clouds behind it to give it some kind of depth perception for the outfielders. What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to get onto the side like you were talking about. Ben Revere had a better angle at it. Here's Pillar. He's trying to shade his eyes with his glove. He throws his hands up, not sure where the ball is, then picks it up, and he just misses it.
Instead of throwing his arms to the side, he could holler, I don't see it, and then maybe Revere could have come over and made the catch. He had a much better angle. So this is Brett Lawrie. Lawrie 0 for 8 in this series. Boy, an interesting start to this ball game. After all of the reviews and confusion, Billy Burns ends up at 2nd base anyway. Lawrie drives it to right. Bautista's back. The ball is carrying. Bautista has it go off of his glove. And now the ball will come in. Lawrie will end up at first. Burns had to wait. Looked like Bautista got a glove on it. When he hit the wall, the ball popped out of his glove. So the bases are loaded. Nobody out here in the first.
Blue Jays have been playing great baseball. They are errorless in 6 straight games, but a couple of tough plays right here. The ball lost in the sun, and now this is a ball that Bautista normally catches, and it looks like he had it in his glove and then hit the wall. One more time, he's battling the sun also. Sticks his glove up. It actually goes off of the heel of his glove. And with a fly ball like that, the runners had to hold their ground so they can only move up.
Boy, interesting start to this ball game. A walk and a pair of singles. Bases loaded now for Danny Valencia. Valencia's got a 6-game hit streak. He goes after the first pitch. Buehrle can come home. Navarro to first. Double play. A 1-2-3 double play. Valencia very aggressive. Burley is aware of that. Threw him a first pitch changeup.
Runners in scoring position. Danny Valencia's eyes light up. So Burley's going to take that sting out of the bat by throwing him a first pitch changeup, and got the perfect result right off the end of the bat. He can come home to first for the double play. That is smart thinking right there by Burley.
Well, it sure is. And Navarro made a fine return throw to first for the double play. Josh Phegley, the catcher.
Well, you have to play good defense right off the end of the bat. Now here's the throw home. He's got to clear some space, and he throws it to the inside part of the bag right there to record the out.
Phegley got a pinch hit at bat in last night's game. He pinch hit for the catcher. Stephen Voden got a base hit off Aaron Loop, and then Loop would retire the next three in order with a couple of strikeouts. Burley will never give in to a hitter. 2-1 now with 2 outs. Boy, this is quite a turnaround. Bases loaded, nobody out. Second and third now with 2 outs. Three and one.
Got a base to play with right here. You got first base open. Phegley's a very good fastball hitter. He's going to try and just put a charge into anything. So you're trying to use that aggressiveness against him. But so far he hasn't swung at any of those pitches off the plate.
There's a strike with a changeup. You can see Navarro's going through an extensive series of signs. Of course, Danny Valencia was a Blue Jay until August 3rd, so he knows all the signs, and the Blue Jays switched him up at the start of this series. 3-2, 2 outs. Back up the middle. Burley deflects it. Pennington. What a play! Oh, the defense has really stood out here in the first. Cliff Pennington making his first start at second. Burley deflected it. He always swipes at these comebackers. This time he hits it with his bare hand, deflects it to the second baseman. What a great start defensively for the Blue Jays. About that pop-up that Pilar lost in the sun, and certainly Pilar very grateful for the double play and the ground out. No score. We head to the bottom of the first. Take a look at the lineup. It's Ben Revere in the leadoff spot. Tulowitzki is out of the lineup to start this game. Josh Donaldson over his last 9 games is 12 for 34 with 5 home runs and 10 RBIs, and Chris Colabello had a big home run last night to extend his hit streak to 9 straight. 12 for 26, nearly 500 with 4 extra base hits and 7 RBIs, and they are set to take on the former Blue Jay, Justice Chavez.
Chavez gets to start this afternoon after Sonny Gray was scratched with this start. He is 6-11 with a very respectable .373 earned run average. Justice also had a save this season. Last time out against Houston He won that ball game through 7 innings, gave up 1 run. That was a home run and had 4 walks.
Jesse Chavez is now 31 years old. He'll turn 32 later this month. Sonny Gray started having problems with his back last night. Tightened up to the point where he had to be scratched from this game, and Ben Revere jumps back out of the way of that inside pitch. Sonny Gray is the American League leader in ERA, and you can bet he wanted to make this start today. His pal David Price is in the other dugout, and he wanted to try to salvage the final game of this 3-game series.
ERA, batting average against, he's thrown the fewest pitches in the American League, right behind Mark Burley. One of the finest pitchers, I think, in the American League, and Blue Jays really catch a break.
Ben Revere leading off with Tulowitzki out of the lineup. Revere had his first extra base hit in last night's game. He hit a double down the right field line. Starting to get a little more comfortable in the Blue Jays lineup. Tulowitzki has done a great job, and he played 9 innings last night, so day game after a night game, they take the opportunity to give him a little bit of a break.
We have another one of those coming up this weekend after a night game tomorrow, and start to see some of the guys after those types of games get the afternoon off.
Bouncing ball. Brett Laurie makes a nice grab. Not in time. The double clutch cost him. It comes across from second base. Laurie making his 6th start at second. He got to the ball in good shape, but then couldn't find the baseball in his glove.
You can see how far he's got to come, thinking that Revere is going to pull Jesse Chavez, in that little hesitation when he catches the ball. Watch him trying to get the ball out of the glove 1 time, 2 times, and that's all it takes when you've got the kind of speed that Revere has, and he's going to leg that one out.
We haven't seen Revere run yet. He has 24 steals for the season, 24-29 since coming over from Philadelphia, but he hasn't had a stolen base attempt since he's gotten there.
He has the green lights. Gibby was talking about that today about Ben Revere and running, and says you got to pick your spots wisely because you're hitting in front of all the big bats of the Blue Jays.
Donaldson takes strike 2. Josh Donaldson, this is the first time he has faced his former teammate Jesse Chavez. They were together in Oakland. Chavez began his career with the Texas Rangers. He was a 42nd round pick of the Rangers in 2002. In the dirt. Nice job by Fagley as he keeps the ball in front of it. Fagley starting for the 44th time today, catching Jesse Chavez. Chavez went from Texas to Pittsburgh for a right-handed pitcher named Kip Wells. That was a trade deadline deal in 2006, July 31st. Chavez was traded from Pittsburgh to Tampa Bay, but it was only there for a month in the offseason. Pittsburgh got Akinori Iwamura, and then Tampa Bay traded Chavez to Atlanta for Rafael Soriano. 1-2 to Donaldson. Strike 3 called. Brian O'Nora rings up Josh Donaldson on that low pitch. Defensively, the A's have committed more errors than any team in baseball. 96 errors to this point. It's Chris Burns and Reddick in the outfield. Danny Valencia makes his 14th start of the season at third base. Marcus Semien and Brett Laurie up the middle. Mark Canha is the first baseman, and Josh Fagley behind the plate.
One looked like it might have been off the plate. You're right. It's been a rough year defensively for the A's. This is Mark Canha at first base. They've used 5 different first basemen this season. This is his 21st start over there at first base. Ike Davis has gotten the most.
Chavez appears as though he wants to establish his fastball to the Blue Jays here in the first inning.
Well, he's always been a strike thrower. He's had the ability to command the strike zone, and at least the first couple batters of this game shows that he's going to do that.
No swing as Bautista checked on the outside corner. Down and away. Chavez pitched for the Blue Jays. 2012, he made a couple of starts. Total of just 21 in the third innings pitched for Jesse while he was with the Blue Jays. 3-1 to Bautista. Hard hit right to the shortstop. Simeon to Laurie. Back to first. A textbook double play. So both teams get a double play in the first inning. We played an inning. No score here at Rogers Center.
Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Picture-perfect day in Toronto. 23 degrees at the start of this ball game, and the roof is wide open. Mark Buehrle pitched out of a bases-loaded, nobody-out jam in the first and kept the A's off the scoreboard. Buehrle started a 1-2-3 double play and then got Josh Phegley to ground out. Buehrle got an assist on that ground out as he deflected it toward the second baseman, Cliff Pennington.
Never want to see the pitcher use that bare hand to try and catch a ground ball.
There's a line drive into center. Pilar is over. That ball was sinking on him, and he made a nice sliding catch. Well, Kevin Pilar, ground baseball, probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. We see him every day, and look at the range from Pilar in center.
Well, look where he is starting against Billy Butler, a right-handed hitter. He's playing him in right center field, so he's got a long way to come. And that ball, you're right, was sinking on him quickly, and he read it and picked it out of the air for the first out. You know, he does such a good job. If you watch him day in and day out, he'll move on certain pitches in certain counts against certain batters. I mean, he is into the game. He's very intelligent out there.
You know what, too? He gives a lot of credit to his right fielder, Jose Bautista. He said, we are constantly talking about alignments during the course of a game. Donaldson tips it off the end of his glove as Josh Reddick will reach. They had the shift on. Donaldson was in close at shortstop, and Reddick gets a one-out base hit.
Saw Reddick do that in last night's game. Beat the shift by shooting the ball the other way. This time just off of the glove of Josh Donaldson for a base hit. Reddick has that ability, I think, to do that, especially against Mark Buehrle at left-hander. He's going to stay in there a long time and try and shoot that ball the other way.
So Buehrle will work out of the stretch. Coco Crisp, switch hitter, batting right-handed. He goes after the first pitch and lines it into the alley. Ben Revere gets over. He'll go to second base to keep the double play in order. Josh Reddick goes first to third. 3 hits now for Oakland.
Coco Crisp has had a lot of at-bats in his career versus Mark Buehrle. Sends this cutter right over the shortstop's head into left field. Ben Revere had thoughts of maybe trying to get Reddick at third base, but then did the right thing. You see Josh Donaldson pointing to him. Throw the ball to second base. Let's keep that double play in order.
Crisp's hit is the 4th hit for the year. His 2 hits here in this inning. Marcus Semien has been red hot. 387 over his last 12 games. Semien did not play last night with R.A. Dickey on the mound. Bob Melvin, conscious of not trying to mess up the young hitter who is on a hot streak facing the knuckleballer. Morris Buehrle has the best pickoff move in baseball. Taking a shot just to check in on Coco Crisp. Fouled it back. The Blue Jays have turned 5 double plays in this series. Of course, they got a big double play in the first. Buehrle trying to get one here in the second. 0-2. He's ahead of Semien. Ball in the dirt, and Smoke came off the bag and took the short hop. No problems for him. Smoke has really played well defensively at first.
Well, he sure has. That time you just have to come off the bag just to save that throw from Buehrle. Crisp can run, and if they get into the count that works, they might start that runner over there at first base to stay out of the double play.
Buehrle is aware of that. Coco Crisp just 1 for 1. Of course, he's missed lots of time because of injury this season. The inside. Buehrle still not zeroed in on that inside corner.
Does a good job of just cutting that fastball right in on the hands to the right-handers, and they see it, but they just can't pull the trigger, and he gets a lot of strikeouts with that inside fastball.
Changeup is tapped foul. Buehrle gets a lot of swings as he's around the plate all the time. Hitters know that they'll call Mark Buehrle a comfortable at bat. Not overpowering, but boy, he can really take the sting out of your bat by changing speeds. Strike 3 call. He found that outside corner that time. First strikeout for Buehrle.
Comes at a good time. He can move that ball around the plate also. Yeah, as a hitter, if you're looking on the inside part of the plate, this is what he'll do. He'll cut that fastball on the outside part of the plate and catch the outside corner. Big strikeout against Semien.
Buehrle might have gotten a call from Brian O'Nora. 2 outs now. Billy Burns very aggressive. He likes to swing early in the at-bats. Burns hit what looked to be a double in his first at-bat. They went to the video review and it was overturned. He would eventually walk to start the inning. Fly ball into center. Pilar gives ground, but Buehrle gets out of it. He strands a pair. Oakland has left 4 through 2 innings.
He talked a lot about the tightness of this ball team. He said he noticed it from day one of spring training when he arrived at the ballpark and saw Russell Martin and many of the guys playing soccer out in the field. In fact, the day that he was called into John Gibbons' office during spring training to be sent down, he says he shook his hand, he shook Alex Anthopoulos' hand and said, "Congratulations, guys. You not only have a great team, you have a great group of players together." R.A. Dickey echoed those sentiments last night. He said that whether it be guys riding on scooters or playing video games or out playing soccer, there is a tight-knit bond with this group. And we even saw R.A. Dickey getting into the fun during spring training when he went and took Daniel Norris's van for a ride out onto the field. Guys, I know we always hear about winning breeds chemistry, but I think in this case you can honestly say that this Jays team had that chemistry before the season even began.
They sure did, Mary. They had a little bit of it, and it got better and better as the season went on. Certainly the addition of all of the position players and pitchers they brought in at the trade deadline added to the character of this team. Chris Colabello, he's been through the grind, of course. 7 years in independent baseball. He's finally getting his best opportunity to play with the Blue Jays.
Talking to some of the coaches this morning about Colabello's game last night, and they were marveling at his ability to send the ball into flight his first time up, pull the ball for a home run deep to left field, and then have a good at bat his next time up and shoot a ball down the right field line for an RBI single. I mean, tough to defend those types of hitters.
You know what? I think that's another product of the way this team gets along. Everybody pays attention to their teammates and how they hit. And there's a lot of good hitters on this team that you can learn from. Colabello is 5 for 8 in this series. Had a good rip at that 3-1 pitch.
We just had a shot right there of where the ball landed for Chris Colabello in last night's game. It would have been, it came close to being a fourth deck type of home run, right up there, right underneath the Tom for Tom Cheek.
Colabello strikes out. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Jesse Chavez. Remember, there's no Edwin Encarnacion in this lineup once again. Edwin's dealing with that sore knuckle on his left hand, and you got to make sure he's 100%. And the way the Blue Jays are playing right now, you can afford to give him some extra time to heal. They go into Philadelphia on Tuesday, right, and there'll be no DH, so you'd like to have Encarnacion's bat in the lineup as the first baseman.
He was going to hit today down in the cages. Neither team hit out on the field today. He was going to hit down in the cages today to see how it feels. John Gibbons feels very confident that he'll be in the lineup for tomorrow night's ball game.
Of course, the Yankees are in town tomorrow night. David Price will open it up. Ivan Nova will pitch for the Yankees. Yanner Navarro behind 0-2. Pat, this has turned out to be a terrific 1-2 combination in catchers behind the plate for the Blue Jays. They have complemented each other very well. There's a base hit for Navarro. Yanner Navarro with a 1-out single right back up the middle.
You know, catching is all about defense and game calling, but offensively, you put those numbers, combine the numbers of Navarro and Martin, and you've got a pretty good production out of that catcher spot. Yanner's done a great job handling Estrada and Burley this season.
Of course, Yanner missed significant time with a hamstring injury back in May. Now, his numbers for the season are down, but he does a terrific job. Justin Smoke, this is extra bases all the way down the line, up against the wall. Navarro is headed for third. They will stop Smoke as Reddick gets it back in quickly. And Justin Smoke is really swinging it lately.
Oh, it was hit so hard by Smoke, you can only get a single out of that ball. Teams have been throwing a lot of change-ups to him first pitch, but this time Jesse Chavez elects to go with the number 1, the fastball, and Smoke sends it down the right field line. It was hit so hard and played so well by Reddick back to the infield. Blue Jays don't want to run into any outs, so it's a single, and Navarro goes to third.
First and third, 1 out. The A's infield at double play depth up the middle. Kevin Pillar had a double in 4 at bats. He was robbed of a second double by Sam Fuld, the left fielder, in the 5th inning. Fuld made a diving catch to take extra bases away from Pillar. Swinging the bat a little better. He's 2 for 7 in this series. .257 for Pillar in these situations on the season. 33 of his 39 ribbies coming with runners in scoring position off the end of the bat. Chavez ahead 0-2.
I think you're right that Jesse Chavez is trying to establish his fastball early against the Blue Jays. A couple of heaters right there for Pillar to hit.
Jesse knows this is a very experienced lineup, and they will sit on pitches, and right now he's trying to cross them up by using that fastball. Looks like he's going with the curveball here to Pillar. Outside, he wouldn't chase. 1-2.
He's got good stuff. He really does. He can cut that fastball, that slow looping curveball like that one right there. He gets a lot of depth and a lot of movement on it. Fastball, and he throws a changeup. And he's always been a strike thrower too.
Well, he is very similar to Pillar in that they were both late round draft picks. Chavez was a 42nd round pick out of Riverside Community College in Southern California. So he's had to prove himself at every level. Base hit to right field. Navarro will come in to score the first run of the ball game. Kevin Pillar drives in his 40th run of the season. Another good at bat for Pillar.
It certainly was a good at bat. He fell behind 0-2 very quickly. Then he had to battle against Chavez. Kind of looked like he took a little something off of that pitch, trying to get Pillar to roll over on it, but he was not going to give in. Watch him stay back. Just shoot that ball to right field for an RBI single. Use the whole field. That's where that batting average is going to go up.
Yanner Navarro jogs home with the first run of the ball game. Navarro had a 1-out single. Went first to third on the single by Smoke. Ryan Goins, the shortstop this afternoon, goes after the first pitch. He picked up on that fastball trend from Jesse Chavez. Goins looking for his first hit in the series. He's 0 for 5. He's had a couple of walks and picked up an RBI with a ground ball. the Blue Jays just won't believe Jesse's going to throw all these fastballs.
His first time through the lineup. Maybe he's trying to establish it. Put fastball in their minds.
A 1-2 as Pilar fouls off that pitch from Chavez. Goins, I'm sorry, of course, Pilar singled ahead of Goins. One nothing Blue Jays. Boy, there's a buzz in this stadium, and there are a lot of kids here today. This is camp day. But you combine that with the recent success of the Blue Jays, it's going to be another packed house this afternoon.
Yeah, you can feel the energy with this team. The Blue Jays are giving them something to cheer about.
High, deep drive to right. Ball carrying here. This one is way back and gone. Ryan Goins, his 4th home run of the season.
Blue Jays are looking for a big hit, and Ryan Goins says, I can do it for you. Blue Jays have put together some pretty good at-bats here in this inning against Jesse Chavez, culminating on that home run by Goins.
The Blue Jays have homered in 12 straight games now. A couple of teammates that spent a lot of time together in the minors, Pilar and Goins, coming up with big hits here in the second.
Well, Ryan Goins made an adjustment, to his swing. He felt like he was looping and getting underneath a lot of baseballs, dropping that back shoulder. So he is keeping that bat on the shoulder until the pitcher gets ready. Watch him. It's right on the shoulder. The pitcher starts to get ready. He loads up, and that shortens up his swing, keeps his shoulders level, and helps him to drive through that baseball.
What a balanced lineup this Blue Jays can throw at you. Tulowitzki gets the day off. Goins slides over to shortstop, but it's a 3-run homer. This is Cliff Pennington getting his first start since he's joined the Blue Jays. Pulls it foul. Pennington was originally a first-round draft pick by the Oakland A's. 21st pick overall in 2005. Played his college baseball at Texas A&M. Fastball, and he strikes out. Second out of the inning.
Third strikeout of the afternoon. Let's take a look at the scouting report for the A's starter this afternoon. He's got a little bit of everything. You see he uses the fastball 34% of the time. You combine that with the cutter. He'll mix in a changeup, a slider, and a curveball also. I think the whole key for Jesse Chavez, though, is to stay on top of the ball. He gets in trouble when he drops that elbow, and the ball starts to elevate just a little bit. If he stays on top and works downwards, he's got enough weapons to get you out.
This is the 8th Major League season for Jesse Chavez. Coming into this game, he has a 23-34 record. He's been a swing man, a guy that can pitch middle relief, long relief, or start for you. Lots of smiles in that Blue Jays dugout. Ryan Goins celebrating his 4th home run of the season. Then Revere chases the off-speed pitch. There's the throw to complete the strikeout. Chavez strikes out the side, but the Blue Jays score 4 runs. Ryan Goins with 2 aboard. With 2 strikes, gets a fastball, lifts it high in the air to right. Lots of celebrating going on. The Blue Jays have homered in 12 straight games.
every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in True HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and much more. It also includes a free At-Bat 15 subscription. Watch baseball at home, at the office, or on the go. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Buck?
Thank you, Barry. This is Mark Hanna, the first baseman. He singled to left field his first time up. One of two singles and a walk the A's had in the first inning, but they couldn't cross home plate. Check swing, tapper, foul.
Hanna's ball was actually a fly ball to center field that Kevin Pillar lost in the sun. Mark Burley did a heck of a job pitching around that. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Hanna makes another bid for a base hit. Boy, he's been swinging the bat well in this series. He's a rookie. He's among the leaders in many rookie offensive categories. And the chance to play first base as he's swinging a hot bat, and the A's are looking for anybody to make an offensive contribution.
Anybody to help. Blue Jays have tried a couple of different things. Yesterday, it looked like they tried to crowd him on the inside part of the plate, and he hit a couple of doubles down the left field line.
This time he hits it to right. Bautista giving ground, backing up right on the warning track. Boy, that ball is flying to right field this afternoon.
We have noticed that the whole series, how the ball is really taken off to right field. They might want to take a couple of steps back and start a little bit deeper. Make things a little bit easier on yourself.
Both Bautista and Josh Reddick have misplayed fly balls to right because they've carried so well. One out now, Brett Lawrie. Lawrie had a single his first time up. Lawrie now 1 for 9 in this series. Mark Burley. For a pitcher that doesn't throw hard, boy, he makes a lot of good pitches inside. He cuts the fastball in there. He will throw the good breaking ball down and in. He makes a lot of quality pitches on the inner half of the plate to righties. Curveball, and Lawrie bounces it foul.
You know, if you think that he is a off-speed type of pitcher, I think you're wrong. I think you're going to find yourself with a lot of overs. This guy is a cutter type of, use the fastball and pitch off of the fastball.
And there's that cutter you were talking about right there. You know, it's interesting, and I'll go back to the early days. Doyle Alexander was another guy everybody thought about as being a changeup pitcher, and he threw a lot of fastballs. Lawrie pokes it. Second baseman Pennington is there. 2 down. Well, Mark Burley has really been on a roll. We mentioned his record coming into this game. He's 12-5, but over his last 12 starts, the numbers are very impressive. Great ERA, opponents hitting just .236, and he's doing a great job of keeping base runners off base.
And you know what? He's not going to go out there with his A game every single time. You and I have watched every one of his starts this season. Sometimes he's got the feel for it. Sometimes he doesn't. He goes out there and he battles, and he just tries to figure out what works for him. His last start against Minnesota, he gave him 7 innings, and he wasn't feeling all that good. But he gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. He also gave up 2 home runs for the first time in 10 starts.
There's a broken bat. Dribbler to short off Danny Valencia. Mark Burley handles the A's in order. 3 up, 3 down in the third. got out of a tough jam in the first inning. Stranded a couple of base runners on in the first inning. Oakland left 2 on in the second, and the Blue Jays put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the second. 4-0 Jays. It'll be Donaldson, Bautista, and Colabello facing Jesse Chavez. Josh Donaldson, 31 home runs. He's also got 30 doubles to his credit. Chavez still throwing a lot of fastballs.
You can see him upset with himself. Jesse telling him to stay back just a little bit more, stay on top of that ball. That one got away from him.
Chavez is pitching on 4 days rest. His record this season on 4 days rest is 4-7, but he's got a good ERA at 3.54. Bob Melvin had to insert Chavez into this spot in the rotation. Sonny Gray was the scheduled pitcher. He's been scratched with back spasms.
Jesse was due to start yesterday, so if Sonny Gray can't go tomorrow, they're going to have to make a roster move. Try to get a starter in there.
Donaldson waves at that pitch off the plate outside, strikes out for a second time. Jesse Chavez got off to a great start this season. You see his first half numbers in 19 starts. He had very respectable numbers across the board.
Wearing down just a little bit here in the second half. 5 starts, an ERA of 5, but today he's got good stuff today. He's got 5 strikeouts already.
5 strikeouts, just 1 out here in the third. Bautista hit into a double play in the first. Jose has homered in 3 of his last 5 games. And he's hit 20 of his 27 home runs from June 1st on. And Chavez's poor net fastball into that strike zone. 2-2 to Bautista. This is popped up. First baseman Mark Canha battling the sun. He's in foul ground and he stays with it to make the catch. 2 outs.
Looks like Jesse has been watching the last couple of days that the Blue Jays are very patient at the plate and they'll work that count. He said, you know what, I'm getting a start today. I'm coming right after him. He's jumped ahead a lot.
The A's are 9-16 against the AL East. They'll go from here to Baltimore for a 4-game series. Chavez better be careful on the first pitch to Colabello. He cut that fastball off the end of the bat. Colabello has really been aggressive in his at-bats. He likes to get things done early on. First and second pitches for Colabello have been very productive. Chris has got a 9-game hit streak on the line. And several Blue Jays have strung together hit streaks, and you can tell by the results, trying to make this 11 straight wins. Why do you think it took so long for Colabello to get an opportunity to play organized baseball?
You know, that's hard to say. You know, when you look at him, you say, okay, well, doesn't have, not a great fielder, doesn't run well, his arm doesn't measure up. But you know what? You can't measure what's in here, in his heart or in his mind. He's very determined. He's a good hitter, you know, with a good plan when he goes to the plate. But I guess if I was a scout and watching, I'd say, yeah, he's a good player, but overall, you know, he's going to have to prove where he fits on a team.
He protects that outside corner and fouls it into the seats. He's going to need a new bat. He busted his bat. But you're right. He doesn't have that type of power that you would think he would have looking at his physique. Okay, boy, big, strong guy, probably hits the ball out of the ballpark. Now, mind you, we've seen him hit home runs now. He's got 11 home runs and limited at bats. But I think he learned how to hit home runs once he got to the big leagues.
Yeah, once he got into pro baseball. What position does he play? You know, it doesn't stand out where you say, okay, well, he's a definite left fielder or a right fielder. Just thinking if I was a scout and I was putting in grades for him, where I would put him. I'll tell you what, he could hit. He could really hit.
This is playable in foul ground. Canna again dealing with the sun. He stays with it. Makes the catch. Jesse Chavez retires the side in order in the third. We'll go to the fourth. The Blue Jays trying to sweep the A's, have a 4-0 lead. Totally different styles, but one thing they are is they're great teammates. We have seen that the last couple of nights here.
And when they're not pitching, they can help out in other ways. How about Mark Buehrle shoveling out the gloves and the hats to the players out on the field? And then when he is pitching, it becomes David Price's turn. Now today, a little bit of a hang-up here. That's what happens in this inning. Wait a minute, we're still waiting. Hold it, timeout, timeout, timeout. We're still waiting for Josh Donaldson, and there is the successful handoff.
Man, Price had a little bit of panic on his face. He goes, wait a minute, we don't have a third baseman yet, and I still got a glove here. But Price has been the consummate teammate from his first day in the big league. Same for Mark Buehrle. I mean, they're guys that love to root for their teammates, and they're always engaged in ball games, whether they're pitching or not. Buehrle drops that curveball in there to Josh Finkley. Finkley grounded out 1-4-3 to end the first inning. Buehrle swiped that comebacker with his bare hand, deflected it toward Cliff Pennington at second. Ground ball off the end of the bat. Smoke will flip to Buehrle, who steps on the bag. One down.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Nothing like a great sandwich on an afternoon Thursday watching the Blue Jays. Jays have a 4-0 lead. This is Billy Butler. Gianni Navarro, after Buehrle had to hustle over to first, took his time, went out between home plate and the mound to make sure Buehrle had a chance to catch his breath. Buehrle and Navarro, boy, have they clicked. Started last year when Navarro caught Buehrle and they really formed a great battery. And then when Navarro came back off the disabled list, they matched him up with Burley once again.
You know, we were talking earlier about how well this team gets along. It looked like Justin Smoke was giving them the business after that, saying, okay, I gave you a nice feed. I like how Burley didn't even attempt to go after that ball in the bat. He knew that Smoke was going to be there to finish it off.
Now Burley walks Billy Butler. That's the second walk Burley has allowed this afternoon. It's going to be interesting to watch the defense now for the Blue Jays. Josh Reddick has had a couple of opposite field base hits. There's Donaldson. Donaldson had a ball go off his glove, and looks like they have the same type of defense. Donaldson is now backed up a couple of steps. Donaldson checking with Pennington and Goins both. I've got the bag if it's hit to you guys. So keep your eye on me on a ground ball to the right side. This is a pop-up. Goins going out. Pilar says he's got it. No issues with the sun here as Pilar makes the catch. Reddick is retired. Pilar lost one in the first inning off the bat of Mark Canha. Fell for a single. Coco Crisp, he had a base hit to left field in his first at bat. 2 outs. Smoke at first base playing well off the bag with Billy Butler, the base runner. But he's in front of Butler, so he doesn't have an obstructed view of Crisp, who will bunt from time to time.
You don't want that base runner to get in your view also if you're trying to look in and get the sign and feel a ball off the end of the bat. He'll stay in front of Butler.
Mark Burley working in the 4th inning, and as we have seen, Burley might come out and bend early in a ball game or even break, as he did against Minnesota when he gave up 4 runs in the first. But it never affects him. He'll just put that behind him and soldier forward. This ball is down the right side, but that's going to slice out of play into the seats.
You know, we were talking about Dioner Navarro earlier this inning about how he and Mark Burley have worked well together. I think Dioner's done a good job of incorporating that fastball just a little bit more. And that's why I think Burley's more of a cutter type of pitcher. I don't want to say a fastball pitch, but a guy who will set it up with that fastball and then use the changeup to get outs.
There it is. He finds that inside corner. We have seen him do that a lot. Burley strikes at Coco Crisp. Dioner Navarro singled his first time up. He scored the first Blue Jay run. Smoke singled. Kevin Pilar had an RBI single. Blue Jays riding their hot bats to a 4-0 lead.
special year for the Toronto Blue Jays. It was the first time they went to the postseason, and they had a very special outfield. Bell, Mosby, Barfield, and you have an opportunity to meet and greet all three of them. It is Monday, August 17th from noon to 1:30 at the Toronto Eaton Center. No lineups prior to 10 a.m., one autograph per person, and no posed photos. Another member of that great 85 team, Mr. Buck Martinez.
Barry, it was a great season for the Blue Jays with those three young outfielders patrolling the exhibition stadium field. First time the Blue Jays won a division title was in '85.
And you know what? You had a whole lot of more good players on that team. It wasn't just those three. We've talked about those three because they're going to honor them with that bobblehead. But man, you guys had a lot of good players.
Alfredo Griffin and Damo Garcia up the middle. Willie Upshaw at first. Mullenix and Orge played third. Good pitching staff. Steve, Clancy, Leal, Gott.
You never had to face them. I had to face those guys.
They were pretty good. Deanna Navarro, he singled, got everything going back in the second. They mentioned Navarro and Russell Martin, what a job they have done together. Well, they had a connection a long time ago, 2006 with the Dodgers. Johnny Navarro was the everyday catcher, and then early in May he took a foul tip off his wrist and was knocked to the disabled list. Russell Martin came up and took over for him. That was on the 4th of May. Martin got off to such a great start that Deanna was eventually traded to Tampa Bay on June 27th, and Martin became the regular catcher. So these two have known each other for a long time.
Isn't it funny how a guy gets injured to give another young kid, a young player, a chance to play in the big leagues? And then they end up getting rid of the guy who was the starter.
The regular. Chavez with a curveball strikeout of Navarro. Chavez has 6 strikeouts now.
Chavez is going to drop that curveball. Right? Watch him spin that ball right off his middle finger. It's almost like one of those spike curveballs that he uses. Pick up the strikeout.
Justin Smoke. He had one of 3 straight singles by the Blue Jays in the second inning. Smoke hit a ball that one-hopped the wall in right, where Josh Reddick played it so well that Smoke was held to a long single. Off the plate outside. With a win today, the Blue Jays would have their second 11-game win streak of the season. And it's really interesting how different the 2 win streaks were. Early in the season, when they had that 11-game win streak from June 2nd to the 14th, they averaged 8 runs a game. During this 10-game win streak, they've averaged 5.5 runs a game. So they aren't pummeling teams, but the pitching is much better during this recent win streak. Both the starters and the relievers have pitched very well. Breaking ball, he checked his swing, and Jeff Kellogg brings him up. Down at third base, Smoke strikes out. So let's take a look at the 2 win streaks and compare the 11-gamer back in June and the 10-gamer here in August.
The starter's ERA 3.69 was excellent, but they were getting 8 runs a game to work with, and that helped them in that streak. This one, though, the starter's ERA is under 2, the bullpen ERA under 1. The Blue Jays are only scoring 5.5. I say only 5.5. That's still really good. Only 5.5 compared to 8. You know, one other thing I think they're doing better now than they did during that first streak? They're playing better defense.
Much better defense, no question about it. Pilar hits it off the end of the bat. A little squibber to Mark Cannon. Jesse Chavez, another good inning. 3 up, 3 down for Chavez. We will head to the 5th. The Blue Jays lead it 4-0. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. the leader in the AL East, the New York Yankees. The Jays would go 13-1 while the Yankees slipped to 4-9. And that's how you erase an 8-game deficit. Blue Jays are a half game ahead of the Yankees now in the AL East.
Yeah, they were coming off a very tough road trip where they gave up a walk-off home run to the Mariners and lost that game. They came home to the homestand, and they would end up losing that first game to the Phillies. But since then, they are 8 games back. They have really started clicking. Offense, defense, pitching, starters, relievers, everything has worked for them.
Marcus Semien hits a fly ball right to Kevin Pillar in center. Well, we'll take a look at the AL East standings, and boy, is this a nice sight for Blue Jay fans. The Jays have a half-game lead over the New York Yankees. Tampa Bay's 4.5 back, Baltimore 5, and the Red Sox 14 games under, 12.5 games back. Blue Jays are 11 games over 500. And John Gibbons has really enjoyed the team's play overall. Every aspect of the team's play has been terrific lately.
To a man, though, it's way too early. You talk to them and they say, hey, it's August. We're going to play into October here. It's the big leagues. So it's a long way to go, and I think they all know that. So it's just about winning today's game. That's what their sights are set on.
But I think now the biggest thing is that they have moved ahead of the division, and they literally have their fate in their own hands. You go out every day and you have some fun. You play to win. I mean, I expect the Blue Jays will probably lose another game or two before the season's over.
You expect that? There's a chance.
But I think all of the players, and you see them every single day, they're very businesslike. Nobody's really giddy about this 10-game win streak. Nor were they when they won 11 in a row in June. This is looped into right. Bautista moves to his right. Burns is retired. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, I tell you what, the Mets got a nice boost offensively when they added Cespedes into center field. Granderson with the home run. Totally different lineup now. You put Uribe in at third. Kelly Johnson's playing second now. And they did a nice job. A couple of under-the-radar moves for the Mets have helped them offensively.
Uribe and Kelly Johnson. Kelly Johnson's got a hit this afternoon also. And then Cespedes, the big bat, didn't he hit his first New York Met home run in last night's game?
Yeah, he's a nice addition to this team, and they've got him hitting second. Donnie Murphy is playing first base, batting third. Then Uribe, the veteran, hitting fourth, and Kelly Johnson fifth. Travis d'Arnaud's back in the lineup. That's good to see. Been battling injuries all season long. Mark Canha has a single, and he's lined out. Burley has retired 9 of the last 10 A's to come to the plate. Burley gives up those hard line drives into the seats frequently, and it's always about setting up the next pitch.
Yeah, because this guy's on everything right now. Everything that he has hit in this series has been pretty hard. He might want to take a little something more off of a pitch. Maybe throw a curveball or another changeup. Something off speed.
Right to the second baseman. Pennington has it. Mark Burley. Another 3-up, 3-down inning for Burley. Burley had a little trouble in the first. No trouble as he walks off the mound after 5.
Standing day for those big comfy green chairs out behind home plate in the TD Comfort Zone. We have fans that are guests courtesy of a TD seat upgrade. Meanwhile, over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse are folks from the Jays Care Rookie League. And Buck, we had a chance to talk to some of those kids earlier in the season. Just another great program the Blue Jays put on.
And you can see they all see themselves on television right now. So welcome to the ballpark. We're happy you're here, and you got a great ball game and a beautiful afternoon. Ryan Goins with a big swing of the bat this afternoon. Another 3-run home run. Blue Jays had 2 3-run homers in last night's game. Chris Colabello and Justin Smoke. Sounds like the old Earl Weaver formula. Good pitching and a 3-run home run.
Pitching, defense, and a 3-run homer. The one that he hit was a beautiful swing. Stayed right through that ball.
Chavez drops the curve in there. 1-2. The home run for Goins, his first hit in this A's series. Goins, Pennington, and then Ben Revere. 8-9-1 for the Blue Jays. We're in the 5th. Pretty good pitch. He painted out outside corner for the strikeout. 1 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Minnesota's won 2 in a row, trying to get back into that wild card race. Irvin Santana on the mound for Minnesota. This is Cliff Pennington, struck out his first time up. Tell you what, Jesse Chavez has thrown the ball pretty well outside of that stretch of 4 batters in the second. He struck out Colabello to start the inning, then gave up singles to Navarro, Smoke, and Pilar. And then Goins hit the 3-run home run. Chavez would eventually strike out the side in the second. The curveball into dirt, and there's the throw to first to complete the strikeout. That's 9 strikeouts for Chavez here this afternoon.
Coming into this season, that was a career high. He had done it 3 times before this season. Then with the fastball cutter early, it looks like he's incorporating the curveball just a little bit more. Nice job by Fegley to keep that one in front of him and record the out over at first base. He has had 2 strikeouts, at least 2 strikeouts now in 3 of the 5 innings this afternoon.
Top of the order, Ben Revere has singled and struck out. .288 for the season. Numbers combined with Philadelphia and the Blue Jays. He's in the leadoff spot this afternoon as Troy Tulowitzki gets the day off. Tulowitzki had been used as the #1 hitter in this lineup since he's joined the Blue Jays. Blue Jays will play Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday afternoons, and have an off day on Monday. They've got a very good schedule as far as the middle of August. They've got 3 off days coming up. Little tapper out in front of home. That'll dribble into foul ground. They got an off day Monday before they play the Phillies, and then they'll go to the West Coast and have an off day on Thursday before they play the Angels. Then they'll have an off day in Texas after the Angels series. So it's a very good schedule as far as setting up the pitching rotation.
Yeah, what you can do with that is you can work around that schedule right there with the off days. If a guy needs to be skipped, if he needs some rest. If you want to give him some extra rest, you can just push everybody back. I mean, there's a lot of options that the Blue Jays have, and they can talk about that, and they have been talking about what they want to do. They've got the off day on the 24th. They also have one on the 3rd in September. So some options for this team when it comes to the pitching staff. Plus, the regulars can get some extra rest, too.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest concern is the regulars. You got a bunch of guys that play every single day. Up the middle, that's going to be a base hit. Ben Revere with his second hit of the afternoon. Laurie got a glove on it, but Revere reaches first.
Oh, it's another infield hit for Revere. He did it his first time up, this time back up through the middle. Even if Laurie comes up with this, I don't know if he was going to be able to throw out Revere. He runs so well. We might see Ben Revere have his first stolen base attempt right here.
Yeah, this is a perfect time for it. 2 outs with Donaldson at the plate. Jesse Chavez thinks that's the case. Donaldson has struck out twice. Once looking, once swinging. Ball and a strike to the Blue Jays' third baseman. Donaldson leads the majors in RBIs. He's got 85 ribbies for the season. He's never driven in 100. The first time he would reach the 100 RBI plateau.
Tell you, with some speed over there at first base, maybe he'll get more fastballs. He's looking for an extra base hit.
Off speed pitch pulled to short. Simeon goes to second to end the inning. Donaldson out on the 4th out. We'll head to the 6th. The Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead. Here comes the Home Hardware cleanup crew. Brought to you by Home Hardware. Another solid start for Burley. No runs on 4 hits through 5 innings. He's needed 68 pitches to record those 5 innings. Burley knocks it down. Laurie hustling down the line, and he'll reach Brett Laurie with his second hit of the afternoon. Navarro saying that ball hit Burley. Take a look at the comeback. Looked like it hit him on the glove, maybe on the heel of the glove. Remember a couple of starts ago, he got hit on the knee off the bat of Eric Hosmer. Ooh, that hit him on the forearm. That's why Navarro was concerned.
Yeah, John Gibbons came up onto the first step to ask if he was okay because he saw that it hit him right on the forearm. And that's going to get the bullpen going.
Burley's taken a couple of hot shots lately. That Hosmer comebacker hit him hard inside the knee.
Yeah, you never see Mark Burley when he gets hit with those comebackers waver at all. But that time, I mean, he was hurting.
Yeah, he never acknowledges any pain at all. But when Hosmer hit him, he took a few seconds to regroup. This is Danny Valencia. Valencia has hit into a double play and grounded out to short. Burley has had Valencia in between. Not sure what he's going to get from Burley. Burley broke his bat the last time up. Valencia fights off that pitch. Burley had a goal early in his career for a number of broken bats during a start.
He got one the last time against Valencia. It was about 5. He said, if I can get that cutter working, especially to the right-handers, where I can get 5 broken bats a game, he says, then I know I've got a good one.
Ground ball. Donaldson at third, to second for 1. Pennington back to the first. Double play. Danny Valencia grounds into a double play for the second time this afternoon. A 5-4-3 double play started by Josh Donaldson.
You know, anytime you have an ex-shortstop playing second base, you know you're going to have a pretty good arm, and that's what the Blue Jays have this afternoon. And Cliff Pennington, a nice turn and a good, strong relay over to first base to finish off that double play.
Of course, Pennington has that shortstop arm, and he had a lot on that throw. That's 6 double plays turned by the Blue Jays in this series. Boy, that's a pitcher's best friend for sure. Mark Burley started a big double play in the first. Bases loaded, nobody out. It's a little pop-up. Pennington fighting the sun, plays it off to the side, stays with it. Mark Burley threw 7 pitches to retire the side in order in the 6th.
Will be playing meaningful baseball in the month of September. They lead the AL East right now by half a game. And coming up next month, American League East opponents. The Orioles come in the 4th through the 6th, and the Red Sox 18th to the 20th. The Yankees, whom the Blue Jays overtook last night, from the 21st to the 23rd, and then the Tampa Bay Rays come in from the 25th to the 27th. Some amazing baseball down the stretch for the Blue Jays against the American League East, and you can get tickets, but get them quick. Go to BlueJays.com for more details. Buck?
It promises to be a great month of baseball in September, and this year the season will stretch into October. The Blue Jays will go on the road for their final road trip. They'll go to Baltimore and Tampa Bay to wrap up the season. and will take them into the month of October. It'll be Bautista, Colabello, and Navarro for the Blue Jays. Jose goes after the first pitch, bouncing ball to Valencia. He throws out Bautista. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Jesse Chavez getting an emergency start in relief of Sonny Gray, who was scratched. Chavez has come up with a pretty good outing, 9 strikeouts.
Really has. The only mistake he's made is the 3-run home run by Ryan Goins. Other than that, he's been real good.
Chris Colabello has struck out and popped up. Chavez has done a great job of keeping the ball out of the middle, except for that 1 pitch to Goins. This is the 2nd start Chavez has made against the Blue Jays. His last start, last May 24th, right here at Rogers Center. He was matched up against R.A. Dickey in that game. He went 5 1/3, gave up 4 runs, just 2 earned runs. As the Blue Jays won that game 5-2. In that game, Chavez gave up a home run to his second baseman, Brett Lawrie. Lawrie hit an 0-2 pitch off of Chavez, leading off the 5th inning. One and 2 to Chris Colabello. Just off the plate inside. Colabello wouldn't chase the breaking ball. It's now a full count.
Lots of strikeouts this afternoon for Chavez, and that has really pushed that pitch count up. He has had at least 1 strikeout in every inning this afternoon. And right now he's 2 off of his career high, and all those pitches have got the bullpen up now for Oakland.
Drew Pomerantz loosening up. Colabello drives this one down the right side. It's deep into the corner and foul. Colabello making a bid for an extra base hit down the right field line.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful Thursday afternoon, and the folks a couple blocks away over on Lake Ontario. Possibility of a nice little cruise late afternoon. Take the boat out and enjoy the great weather. So Colabello will have another chance here. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball pulled foul. Jesse Chavez with 9 strikeouts this season, his season high and career high. 11 strikeouts that came against San Diego. Back on the 17th of June. Colabello bounces it up the middle. Simeon near second. 2 down. Well, everybody knows the New York Yankees will be here tomorrow night, and here's the probable pitching matchup for the 3-game series.
Looks like games 2 and 3. The pitchers that the Blue Jays face, it'll be Price. He'll be matched up against Nova, Tanaka, and Estrada, and then the finishing touch is Drew Hutchison and Luis Severino. Everybody's talking about that one. Severino, the big rookie for the New York Yankees. It promises, I think, to be a very good series, and we were really surprised in New York last weekend. We thought with these great offenses we'd see a lot of runs scored. It turned out to be 3 pitchers duels.
2-1, 6-0, and 2-0 in the 3-game series in New York, says Gianna Navarro. Navarro got the rally going in the second with a 1-out single. Well, Chavez still has enough zip on his fastball, and he's located it very well. He has thrown 103 pitches. His season high 110. That was on the 31st of May as he beat the Yankees 3-0. It's a high fly ball to right. Reddick on the track. He'll make the catch. Navarro gave it a ride. Jesse Chavez, 6 strong innings, but he trails the Blue Jays 4-0. Jays scoring all their runs in the second. Authority of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express or written consent of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership. Ryan Goins with a big swing of the bat here this afternoon. He hit a 3-run home run, part of a 4-run second inning for the Blue Jays, and that has them ahead 4-0. Boy, the Blue Jays are getting some terrific pitching. Mark Buehrle continues that stretch of great pitching. Blue Jays pitchers 16 straight games, 3 earned runs or less from the starters. That is 2 off of the Blue Jays franchise record for straight starts, 3 earned runs or less. Bouncing ball to third. That's a fair ball. Donaldson bare hands and throws to first in time. Boy, got another nice stretch from Justin Smoak. I have not seen a third baseman that's so comfortable fielding ground balls barehanded as Josh Donaldson.
A couple of things on that play. It looked like that ball was going to bounce foul. Watch it go down the line, and then that last bounce, it actually came back in fair territory, and Donaldson makes the decision, hey, I don't have enough time to catch it with my glove. I better barehand it. Plants his foot. It's a high throw, but Smoak does a good job of staying on that base, staying engaged with it to record the out.
That's the first out of the 7th inning. Reddick pops it up. Long run for Donaldson over near the seats. It's out of play. A couple of rows deep into the seats. Blue Jays bullpen has been throwing great. They haven't had to work an awful lot lately, and they've got a lot of good arms now. Today, first up is Mark Lowe. The Blue Jays bullpen, boy, they have turned things around since the All-Star break. 1-2. Reddick drives this one to left. Ben Revere over into the alley, makes the catch.
Well, you talk about the bullpen and what they have done since the All-Star break. They have put up some big numbers. They got a couple of additions out there that has helped them build that whip. That's the walk plus hits divided by innings pitched to the best in baseball since the All-Star break. Having those extra arms down in the bullpen has given John Givens a lot of options. The starters go a little bit deeper, and now he's got a couple of extra arms that he can help get to the end of the ball game.
Now, you don't have to use the same pitchers 2 and 3 days in a row now. You've got basically 2 sets, a couple of different platoons of pitching that he can use on a given night.
They are still carrying 8 relievers right now. So there it is right there. You got the 6 right-handers and 2 left-handers.
Aaron Loup got into a ball game last night for the first time in quite a while. He gave up a leadoff single, but then retired the next 3 in order with a couple of strikeouts. That was a good outing for Loup. To get back to that whip for the bullpen, we mentioned such a turnaround. Before the All-Star game, it was 1.18, and they have really whittled it down, well under 1 now.
That's a lot of base runners. I mean, that's over 1 an inning coming out of your bullpen.
Well, and just think about when the bullpen pitches, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, you're giving up those base runners. But it's been a different story since the All-Star break. Mark Burley with a full count, 2 outs to Coco Crisp. Hit hard. Donaldson takes the one hopper in time. Mark Burley, another 7th-inning start for the veteran lefty. He's in line for his 13th win of the season. 4-0 Jays.
Coming to town in late August, great chance to see David Price maybe face Daniel Norris. Well, that chance still exists, except this time it would be Norris for the Tigers and Price for the Toronto Blue Jays. Boys, that trade changed a lot of things. Those Tigers come to town for 3 games at the end of August, beginning Friday, August 28th, the 29th and 30th as well. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets. And as you know, with all the games right now, tickets are at a premium. So get online and order your tickets before they're gone. Buck?
It's great advice, Barry, as the Blue Jays have had another sellout crowd here this afternoon, the 7th sellout of the season. This is the lefty veteran, Drew Pomerantz. He comes on in relief after Jesse Chavez goes 6 strong innings.
Blue Jays saw Pomerantz out in Oakland at the end of July when he made an emergency start against them and threw an inning and 2/3, gave up a couple of hits and 2 earned runs. He was charged in that game. That was the game that R.A. Dickey beat the Blue Jays. 35 games for Pomerantz. He's 4-4 this season.
Pomerantz, originally drafted by the Cleveland Indians. He came out of the University of Mississippi. Drafted by the Indians in the 1st round. He was a 5th overall pick. A highly touted prospect that really hasn't had the opportunity to really develop. He made 22 starts for Colorado in 2012. And then he was traded by Colorado to Cleveland. Traded by Cleveland to Colorado in the Ubaldo Jimenez trade. Justin Smoak had another hit today. He's 1 for 2. Batting right-handed for the first time this afternoon. Goes back up the middle. Laurie behind second, takes his time and throws out Smoak. Smoak deserves a lot better lately. He's really been hitting the ball hard.
Hit the ball hard 4 times in yesterday's ball game. That time send that one back up the middle. Brett Laurie has always had the great range, and now they can display it a little bit more at the second base. Been playing there since they got Valencia. Shows it off right there, and a strong arm to get the first out.
Laurie's making his 6th start at second base. Kevin Pillar had an RBI single in the second. He drove in the first run of the game, and then right behind him, Goins with the 3-run home. Bouncing ball, nice play by Canna. He'll go to the bag. Pillar is retired, 2 outs. Now it's time for the drive of the game. It's brought to you by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car, 17 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
This is the big blow of the game right here. A high fastball from Jesse Chavez, and Ryan Goins is going to clobber the ball high and deep to right field. Goins is going to pick up his 4th home run. 3 quick runs for the Blue Jays. The big blow in that inning is our drive of the game. Blue Jays ended up scoring 4 runs on 4 consecutive hits. The last hit was the 3-run home run by Ryan.
Goins facing the lefty Pomeranz. Goins .216 on the season against lefty pitching. Stays back on that breaking ball, then bounces it foul.
He has had better at bats against left-handers lately by just trying to go right back through the middle. Early in his career, when he first came up, he was opening up a little bit too much, giving away at bats against left-handers. Now he's learned to stay on them.
Aaron Sanchez is throwing now. Earlier it was Mark Lowe. But Sanchez appears to be coming in for the 8th inning. Mark Burley in line for his 13th win of the season. There's a strike. Pomeranz comes in and retires the side in order in the 7th. We'll go to the 8th. The Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead. Mark Burley.
best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Mark Buehrle out to start the 8th, and why not? He's allowed no runs on 5 hits through 7. Marcus Semien 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Pops this one over toward the seats, and that'll get back out of play. Boy, Mark Buehrle looked like he was going to be knocked out of this game early. He had the bases loaded and nobody out in the first. And the 4-time Gold Glover got a comebacker, turned it into a 1-2-3 double play. And then got a ground ball back up the middle. He swiped at it with his pitching hand, deflected it to the second baseman, and nobody out, bases loaded. A's didn't score.
How many times have we said that this year? That it looked like he was going to get knocked out early. Came back in the second inning, gave up two quick hits, first and third, and just one out, and got out of that inning. And here he is in the 8th.
Semien rips it into center field, the leadoff single. Buehrle now has allowed 6 hits. That turned the lineup over. John Gibbons is perched on the top step of the dugout.
2-strike pitch. He's going to go back outside with that cutter. Semien's got the plate coverage to bang it back through the middle for a hit.
The Blue Jays made 2 fine defensive plays in support of Buehrle in the 7th. Josh Donaldson and Ben Revere both made good defensive plays to record the first 2 outs of the 7th. Billy Burns walked in the first, has flied out twice since. Buehrle just doesn't give you too many comfortable swings. Burns had to do his best just to get to that ball off the plate inside.
Jumped ahead again, 0-2. I think you got to think, all right, I'm going to look for the ball outside, or I'm going to look for the ball inside. You start chasing that ball around the strike zone, you're going to be in a lot of problems, a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I don't think you can guess with Mark Buehrle. You just have to pick a side. I think that's right. Say, okay, today I'm going to look for the ball away. Anything inside until I get to 2 strikes, I'll let it go. Now you start chasing Mark Buehrle, you'll be chasing your tail. That's into center field. That's going to drop, and Pilar makes a bad judgment. He dives for it, and that allows Semien to come around third. He's waved home, and he's going to score. Pilar, with a 4-0 lead, should have played it out of hop, kept it to a single, and conceded the single. So the A's are on the board, and Burns ends up at third. And here comes John Gibbons. He makes the call to the bullpen. So Gibbons sent Buehrle out to start the 8th. Buehrle gives up a single and a triple, and he will leave this ball game. Buehrle with a big attaboy for his catcher. And you can bet Pilar would like to do that play over again. Now Batista's talking to Rivera about the situation.
He hasn't made too many mistakes this season, but this is one right here. Thinks he has a shot at it. And in the 4-run lead, you'd like to just back off and just play it on a single. There'd be first and second and nobody out, but he made the commitment to dive for it. The ball got by him. It ends up a run and a runner at third base and nobody out.
So now it'll be Mark Canha against the new pitcher Aaron Sanchez.
Sanchez into the ball game now in his usual 8th inning. There are his numbers in 20 games this year, 6-4 with a 325 earned run average. Sanchez was credited with a hold a couple of days ago against these same Oakland A's.
Canha has had a good series. He had a bloop single in the first and hit the ball hard twice. Lined out in the third, grounded out in the fifth. Mark Burley goes 7 plus 2 batters here this afternoon. Sanchez on Tuesday worked an inning, needed just 11 pitches to get out of that 8th inning. And behind 0-2. Sanchez pitched in New York twice in that series, and both times very efficient. On Saturday, threw 12 pitches in an inning in support of David Price, and then on Sunday, 14 pitches in an inning of work setting up Osuna for the save. Oh, and 2. Bounced foul.
Blue Jays will concede a run as they play the infield back. Sanchez gets a lot of ground ball outs. The runner right now that they're worried about is the guy on deck. That's the potential tying run.
The guy on deck is Brett Lawrie. Sanchez 0-2. Breaking ball, kind of gets a piece of it. John Gibbons has done a pretty good job of bringing Sanchez into clean innings. He's only had one inherited runner, and he's come in to score. But most of the time, he gives him a clean inning to enter the ball game in. Burns at third, nobody out. Bouncing ball up the middle. Pennington throws to first. Burns comes in to score. And is retired. He'll pick up an RBI on the ground out. So the line on Burley is complete. He goes 7 plus 2 batters. He gives up 2 runs on 7 hits. So again, that stretch of starts for the Blue Jays extends to 17 straight games where the starters have allowed 3 or fewer runs. Smoke takes the short hop, goes to the bag, and makes a nice play on Lawrie. Boy, defense has been keen most of the afternoon.
Most of the last 2 weeks, I mean, they have been playing great defense. This looked like a sure base hit off the bat of Brett Lawrie. And for a first baseman, you're not really expecting a right-handed batter to shoot the ball that way, but Smoke does. Makes a clean play and then finishes the out over at first base.
Two down now. Danny Valencia has hit into 2 double plays and grounded out to shortstop. Burley is in line for his 13th win of the season. That would tie him with Colin McHugh and Dallas Keuchel. one behind the league leader, Felix Hernandez of the Mariners. An easy 98
with movement. Boy, since he has been put into that eighth role, that eighth inning role, he has really solidified the back end of that bullpen.
Once he gets a piece of it, it's now a 2-2 count. Mark Buehrle's ERA now 3.31. Knocked a couple points off of it today. Looking to go 13-5. Boy, what a job Sanchez and Osuna have done at the back end of the bullpen. They are poised, they are confident, and they've got great stuff.
And they're the youngest pitchers on the staff.
Valencia strikes out. Sanchez comes in and gets the three batters he's faced. We'll go to the bottom of the eighth. The Blue Jays lead it 4-2. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn.
Right now on Sportsnet, it's the Rogers Cup live from Toronto and Montreal. The women are over on Sportsnet 1, while the men and Andy Murray on center court on Sportsnet 360. And don't forget, you can watch everything with the MLB At Bat feature. You can watch a Jays game there, or you can flip around and do what you have to do, Buck, because that is modern technology. But you don't want to miss the end of this game.
Well, you share down, you'll see some history made. If the Blue Jays can make it 11 straight, it'll be their second 11-game win streak of the season. It'll be the first team to do that since the 1954 Cleveland Indians. That Cleveland Indians team in '54 won 111 games.
That was a major league record for the longest time, too.
9-1 for the Blue Jays. This is Cliff Pennington, who today got his first start for the Blue Jays. Pennington, I mentioned he was a first-round pick of the Oakland A's, got to the big leagues for the first time in 2009. Spent 3.5 years with the A's, then he went to Arizona 13 and 14. Just a little looper behind first. Lowry's got good range, gets there and makes the basket catch. One down.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
David Price will go to the mound tomorrow to open up the Yankees series. Of course, Price beat the Yankees on Saturday in New York. Get a chance to go up against them. It'll be his third start for the Blue Jays. Price shut out the Yankees on 3 hits over 7 innings in New York. Ben Revere, he's had a 2-hit day, 2 for 3, leading off in place of Troy Tulowitzki.
You know, it's a perfect time to bunt right there. You got a left-hander on the mound. Brett Lawrie at second base was playing deep. We had that shot of him and Canada.
Revere anxious to find a stroke that allowed him to lead the National League in hits last year. Coming into this game, he was 7 for 38. Had a couple of hits today. He gets a piece of it. One thing he does, he doesn't strike out very often.
Right. He'll make contact, put the ball in play, make you throw him out. He is in tough right now against Pomeranz. Pomeranz has that spiked curveball, like a knuckle curveball. It's got a lot of movement on it.
Off the plate outside, it's 1-2. R.A. Dickey beat the Yankees last Friday. And another good start here last night. Dickey picked up his 7th win of the season. Revere strikes out. That's just the 3rd time he has struck out since joining the Blue Jays. Pomeranz has retired all 5 men he's faced. Bob Melvin has made the call to the bullpen. Josh Donaldson is the Blue Jays batter. So Melvin will go to the mound. Pomeranz had a good outing. Fernando Rodriguez, the big right-hander, in to face Josh Donaldson when we come back. Davis last pitched on Sunday in the Astros series. He went an inning and a third, didn't allow a hit, had a couple of strikeouts and walked two.
He's got a big arm.
38th appearance.
You can see he's averaging 11.5 or 9 innings. Missed all of 2013, most of 2014 with Tommy John surgery. And from those numbers right there, successful recovery as the brooms are out now this afternoon here at Rogers Center.
The Blue Jays trying to sweep the A's. It would be their third consecutive sweep. Josh Donaldson to face Rodriguez. Goes after the first pitch and hits it off the end of the bat. Rodriguez needs just one pitch to retire Donaldson. They will go to the ninth. The Blue Jays have a 4-2 lead. Roberto Osuna coming. It's 20-year-old Roberto Osuna on looking for the save, and the setup man Aaron Sanchez, since he's moved into the bullpen, has been terrific. Sanchez is 23, Osuna just 20.
You know, and they are handling those duties like they've been doing it for a long time here at the big leagues levels. Eighth inning man Sanchez, his numbers outstanding. Osuna, Roberto at just 20 years old, he's only given up the 186 average right there. He comes right after you with that fastball. And he threw a changeup the other day to end the ball game. That was just dynamite.
He will face the pinch hitter Stephen Vogt, batting for the catcher Josh Franklin. In yesterday's game and last night's game, Fagley pinch hit for Vogt in the ninth and got a single. Osuna falls behind 2-0. Osuna picked up his 11th save on Tuesday. Saved it for Drew Hutchison. Sanchez and Osuna working in that game. There's a strike. Osuna, just 20 years old. And when LaTroy Hawkins joined the bullpen, he introduced himself to Osuna, and Osuna said, "Nice to meet you, sir." This is popped up, and Donaldson over near the seats. He's got room. He is there, and he makes the catch. One down. Well, the Blue Jays have been a hot ticket. This is the 7th sellout crowd of the season, 46,902, and they're going to be 3 straight sellouts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when the Yankees are in town. Everybody has jumped on the bandwagon, and why not? The Blue Jays on the verge of winning their 11th straight game. Well, we mentioned Hawkins and Osuna in that exchange, and LaTroy says, you can call me LaTroy, you can call me Hawk, or just call me old man, but don't call me sir.
Out of respect, though, right?
Absolutely. You know what? Osuna's been around baseball his whole life. His uncle pitched in the big leagues for 11 seasons. Billy Butler drives it high and deep to right. The ball is carried all day long, but not this time. Bautista with his back up against the wall. 2 down.
Bautista does a good job finding that wall, keeping his eye on that baseball, looking directly into the sun. Finds the wall, finds the ball. 2 down.
Bautista again. This ball is over his head. Josh Reddick headed for second, and he'll get there with the slide. A 2-out double for Reddick. His second hit of the afternoon, his 20th double of the season.
There is something about right field here in this series where the ball is really taken off. Reddick goes down to get this one, and it looks like a fly ball, but it just takes off. And you can see Bautista has to change direction and then realizes the ball's over his head. For extra bases.
Dickey talked about the wind. He felt it last night when he was pitching, saying it was a jet stream out toward right. And we have seen 2 good right fielders baffled by the way the ball carries. 2 down. Coco Crisp. Osuna is a calm, cool customer. Changing him outside, a ball on the strike. Osuna stepped off the rubber in Navarro, trying to get settled on a pitch.
He shook him off 3 times, looking for the pitch that he wants right here.
Navarro had a pitch on his mind. He said, "Follow me." And now they're going through another set of signs. In agreement. He liked that last pitch. Threw it just where he wanted it.
His best pitch is a fastball. You don't want to get beat with your secondary pitchers. Use your fastball.
The Blue Jays have the oldest and the youngest pitchers to save the game this season. Osuna and LaTroy Hawkins. And Hawkins is loosened up just in case. Bautista to his right. Ball game. Osuna picks up his 12th save, and the Blue Jays have made it 11 in a row.
And their third sweep in a row. They're getting the pitching, first from Burley, then Sanchez, and then Osuna to finish it off. And the Blue Jays have stretched that lead to a game over the Yankees.
Another good ball game. Ryan Goins with the big swing of the bat this afternoon. A 3-run home run. The Blue Jays scored all their runs in the second. We'll be back here tomorrow night. David Price opens up against the Yankees. Lots more coming up. Here's Blue Jays Central, Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn.